Everybody, my name's Fay Courceiro. I work at the University of Portsmouth and I'm leading on the scientific side of what you guys are doing with GB Row 2022. I was very lucky to meet some of you at the weekend and I really look forward to meeting the rest of you as soon as we can. This is a very short, hopefully, snippet about why the science that you're collecting is important. I guess the most important thing to think about is on a global scale, so in the big picture, the health of our seas are declining, and that's so important for a whole number of things, for feeding people, for climate change, because they absorb so much CO2 and heat. And the UN itself, if you know anything about the UN sustainability goals, there's one sustainability goal which is about the health and well-being of the human population as a whole, and the UN have categorically stated that that is intrinsically linked to the sustainability goal which looks at the health of our oceans. They have released reports which say our ocean, our future. We cannot survive as we are as a species if we don't look after our oceans. So on the most important note, I guess, that's it. And as I've said before, save our oceans and save ourselves. It's as simple as that. On a sort of more upbeat note, I'm going to talk about specifically the science that you guys are going to be doing to help with that, with helping save our seas. You're going to be looking at 3 areas in particular. The first one is microplastics, which is a big passion of mine. They're an issue in food chains. They can get into species, they can be eaten, they can either block their stomachs and things can desorb off them. They act as vectors, which means they carry pathogens on them that can make people sick. And I do mean people can get sick from them as well as animals. So microplastics and knowing where they are in our waters are really important. There's no complete map for the UK yet. There are various areas that have been studied and sometimes studied very well, but there are also areas where there is no data at all. So I'm really excited to start to see what's going to come out from this year's race. Along with that, we're going to be looking at noise pollution. So underwater noise is a problem for whales, dolphins, fish. Most marine species use sound because sound travels very well underwater. They use it to hunt for food, they use it to talk to each other, they use them for courtship rituals. And when you start to introduce underwater noise from shipping, from leisure craft, things like jet skis, you can start to see a real impact on the species. They either move out of the area or you see a decline in their health because they're not able to find food so easily, or they have to work harder to find their food. At the moment, that's done by modelling, and there's only 3 hydrophones, that's an underwater microphone, around up in Scotland, which is the baseline they base these models on, and they only look at the big ships. What I'm really excited about is you're going to have a hydrophone on your boat. That's going to be pointing into the water, and I have some great guys over in cosmology who specialise in looking at sound. They normally look in space and look at stars, but they're going to be looking at the data that you guys are collecting. They're going to remove the noise of the oars going round, and we're going to get a really, really good baseline of what is happening all the way around the UK in real time. Sorry, and when I say in real time, it's not being delivered to us in real time, but I mean that rather than it being modelled as it is at the moment. So that's going to be amazing to understand. And then eDNA, I'm not going to talk about a lot. You have an expert, Kat, who's on one of the boats, and it's her company that are going to be doing the eDNA for us. But you can filter water, and on the filter you'll collect some DNA. Any DNA from the species or animals that have been passed, the bacteria that are in that water, will be collected on the filter, and Kat's company can then tell us what has been in the water. So why this is so powerful: on land you would go out, you would have a look to see what's there, but most of the time underwater we can't see what's there. So if you could have an angel shark, for example, which is very recluse and likes to live down near the bottom, and you wouldn't see it, but you might be able to find traces of it in the eDNA. So having a map of that around the UK is going to be pretty special. And for me, the most important thing here is not just the individual data, because they sound like 3 separate projects, but it's how they interact. So you can have a map of the microplastics, then a map of the sound, and then a map of the biodiversity on top of it. Link that with maps of temperature, salinity, and you can start to understand why things are happening. So if you see that dolphins or whales or much smaller things like oysters and gammarids are not doing so well, that they're not so healthy, is that in areas where there's high noise? Is it in areas where there's high microplastics? Do you see areas where there's very low concentrations of noise and a high biodiversity? And that gives us that evidence, that real concrete evidence to go to government, to lobby MPs, and to start to explain this is what's causing the problems in our oceans, this is what needs to be done about it. The data you guys are going to collect is going to be amazing. I'm so excited about it. And even more excited is the fact that it's going to be over 4 years. So hopefully, maybe some of you will want to do this again, maybe not. But whoever goes out in the next 4 years, it also means this data will be our baseline, and we'll be able to see if our seas are getting worse or better. So important when they're looking at changing the marine landscape with free ports, which is going to change shipping, how that affects the pollutants and how that affects the species. Nobody knows, and we're going to be able to see that. We're going to be able to pick that up from the data, and that will be, as I say, so important going forward to government to have that real, reliable data. I hope that's enthused you a little about having to do a few extra things while you're rowing. I'm aware that the aim of this is the race, but I'm hoping that we've tried to make this as simple as possible for you in terms of collecting the data. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing it. So good luck with all the training, and hopefully I will see you all soon. All the best. Bye.